Conrad wonders why Julius, one of the wizards, is also going against him. Julius says what Conrad is trying to achieve is very wrong. Conrad is very confident that none of the wizards can stop him. He launches a powerful attack that the wizards find so hard to even repel. He then brings out the Imperial Sword, Escaldia. They are surprised to see him using the sword for such a purpose. We finally get to see what Conrad is trying to achieve. His aim is to create a world where everyone is equal and no one is treated unfairly. The other wizards say they can't allow him to do so because the cost of doing so will be devastating. Julius tells Conrad that he must be stopped no matter what. Conrad wields the sword and delivers a powerful blow that knocks out the wizards. Believing that he has won, Conrad heaves a sigh of relief. Suddenly, Julius appears behind him. Julius has already completed a sealing spell around Conrad before he could realize what is going on. Conrad is surprised that Julius is willing to seal him together with the Imperial Sword. Julius admits that Conrad is more powerful than them, and if it means losing their national treasure just to defeat him, he is willing to do so. Julius completes the spell and says he is taking full responsibility for the sword's disappearance. Apparently, Julius is the next in line to be the Wizard King. The wizards finally get to have a breather when Julius seals Conrad. 10 years later, we see a thriving and prosperous nation, the Clover Kingdom. The people are trooping into the stadium to witness the magic battles known as Triumph that take place once every decade. It is said that whoever wins the tournament will be the next Wizard King. There are 9 Magic Knight squads consisting of mages who are specialized in battle. These mages are under the supervision of the Wizard King. The battle is sure to present the best of the best. The commentators, Klaus and Mimosa, welcome everyone to the stadium in anticipation of the great tournament. The vice captain of the Golden Dawn squad, Yuno, steps into the arena for the first round of the tournament. With the reception he received, he surely is a fan favorite. The person who is supposed to compete against Yuno enters the stadium, but with a mask on. He registered his name as the Masked One. The match begins and Yuno launches a wind attack against the Masked One, but he easily cuts it off with his sword. Immediately the Masked One does this, Yuno recognizes and calls him by his name, Asta. Just then, Conrad and 3 other wizards appear on top of the stadium. They create a magical barrier around the stadium, and Conrad brings out the Imperial Sword. He casts a spell with the sword, and it starts to drain everyone inside the stadium of their magic powers. Conrad mocks Julius when he sees how weak he has gotten. He reveals that he managed to break the seal, and his ambition has not changed even after 10 years. He says by creating a world where everyone respects each other, the Clover Kingdom must be taken over. One of the rebelling wizards, Princia, launches the magic spell that helps her create foot soldiers or knights. The knights begin to attack the people in the stadium until Asta steps in and start to wipe the knights with his sword and fast-paced attack. The wizards gather all the civilians in one place and try to create a portal that will get them out. Yuno and Noelle soon join Asta in attacking the knights. Noelle says she is still able to wield her magic powers because she is of royalty, and losing a little bit of magic means nothing to her. Seeing that he now has support, Asta gets even more excited and continues to wipe the knights. The knights form a barricade around him, but he manages to take them out in one sweep of attack. When Julius sees the 3 other wizards that are with Conrad, he recognizes them. Apparently, all 3 of them were once Wizard Kings also, but they have died. The 3 Wizard Kings, namely Princia, Jester, and Edward. Edward is surprised that Asta can still move so fast, even with all the magic that has been absorbed in the stadium. Jester points out that Asta has no magic to begin with. Princia is also surprised that someone with no magic is defeating her soldiers. While everyone is busy discussing, Conrad reveals that he managed to revive the Wizard Kings with his magic and the power of the Imperial Sword. Turns out that the 3 Wizard Kings also share the same view as Conrad. Jester throws a magic spell at Asta, but he easily cuts it with his sword. Jester is surprised that Asta can even negate magic spells. Suddenly, Marx launches an attack on Conrad. Conrad doesn't even feel any threat in the attack, and he weaves the attack off with just one hand. Conrad sees that Marx's magic is also interesting and moves closer to him before Marx could even realize what was going on. Conrad reads Marx's magic and steals it. The The three Wizard Kings attack Asta, but he seems to be doing just fine with all the attacks they throw at him. Conrad is surprised that a peasant boy with no magic is going head-to-head with the Wizard Kings. He teases Julius about how far they come. Just then, the Magic Knight captains, including Yami, arrive to provide support. Yami takes Asta and Julius to a corner and has a conversation with them. Julius says they can't defeat their opponents as things stand. The only option they have is to head to the Magic Tool Research Lab's branch 0 immediately. Julius wants Yami to go there and bring the magic tool that they are developing with Nero's help. Yami refuses and says no one would provide backup for Julius if he goes. Julius is quite vulnerable now, so he needs all the help he can get. Instead, Yami tells Asta and Finral to go to the lab and get the tool. Finral opens a portal for quick transportation and Noel also joins them. After Asta's departure, the Knights captains continue their fight against the Wizard Kings, but they soon realize that their opponents are tougher than they think. Conrad tells the wizards that once he activates the Imperial Sword, the kingdom will be destroyed. Julius says Conrad can destroy the country with the sword because the sword has already absorbed enough magic power to do so. Moments later, Fugolian and Nozel inform Julius that all the civilians have been evaluated. What is left for them is to defeat Conrad and his subordinates. Just then, Conrad tells the group that there are countless singular points where the veins of mana interact. One of the points is the stadium they are currently in. 10 years ago, he already altered the stadium and turned it into a weapon, but Julius sealed him away before he could activate it. Conrad activates the stadium by pushing the Imperial Sword into the ground, and it turns into a giant flying fortress. Jester creates a magical barrier around it to prevent intruders from entering or escaping. Soon afterward, Asta and his friends get to Branch 0. Finral enters a magic code, and the trio is welcomed by Millie. She tells the trio that she is the coordinator at the branch. She is already aware of the situation and what they came for. She hands them over to Nero to show them around the facility. Nero says the magic tool Julius needs is in a far location in the lab. She adds that Sally is currently working on the tool to make an adjustment. As the group takes the long elevator ride, Nero begins to tell them who Conrad is. She tells them that Conrad is Julius' predecessor. When he was sealed away, they lied to the citizens that he had died of a disease to prevent the people from panicking. Nero says after Conrad was chosen as the Wizard King, he rebelled against the kingdom and tried to destroy it. Asta demands to know why Conrad would want to do something like that, and Nero says she has no idea. Turns out that the Imperial Sword belongs to the first Wizard King, and that was the key to his plan. Nero says Conrad is very powerful because he uses key magic. He is able to absorb any magic tool, grimoires, and even magic itself. After a very long ride, they finally get to where they are going. Nero says the tool they are working on is a prototype sheath that should be able to contain the Imperial Sword. The group couldn't be more surprised when they enter the room to find Conrad waiting for them. He reveals that he had high hopes when he learned that they were making a weapon, but it turns out that it is not as incredible as he thought. He destroys the prototype like it's nothing and also subdues the group. He tells them that he took a sneak peek inside Marx's memory to be able to find the lab. To make things worse, Conrad tells the group that he has defeated the Knight Captains already. He also has the kingdom and the citizens in the palm of his hands. When Noelle hears that her brother has been defeated, she acts irrationally and attacks Conrad. Conrad stops her attack easily and absorbs her water magic power. Asta gets furious and demands that Conrad gives Noelle back her magic. He attacks Conrad with so much ferocity that Conrad had to stop for a moment and request a chat. He gives Asta the opportunity to join him, but Asta refuses immediately. Conrad reveals his plan to absorb all the magic inside the sword and drive the power into the country's vein. This will lead to the death of all the citizens, but they will later get to bring back the desired and strong citizens of their choice. Even with his sugarcoating, Asta still says he is not ready to join sides with Conrad. He tracks Conrad and cuts him. Conrad gets furious that Asta was able to lay his hands on him. He launches a very powerful attack at Asta that knocks him to the ground. While on the ground, Asta tells Conrad that never giving up is his magic. He promised to always get back up no matter what. Just then, Miro and the rest steal Asta from under Conrad's nose. Yuno also arrives at the scene to provide support. Miro and Sally create a barrier around Conrad and try to use all their magic to seal him. After putting so much effort into it, they realize that they are not cut out to seal or even defeat Conrad. Yuno tells the group to retreat immediately, and they quickly vanish before Conrad could follow them. Conrad contacts Jester about the progress of the magic fusion. Jester says he has found the perfect vein, and it is located in a village. The village is in the Forsaken Realm where the demon skeleton lies. While Conrad is pondering about the past, he remembers that he also said the same exact words Asta said to him before. He once told his comrades that never giving up is his magic power. Up next, Noelle wakes up and tries to make out her surroundings. Mimosa gets close to her and lets her know that she is safe. Yuno comes over and tells her that they are in a Golden Dawn emergency shelter. It is still under construction, so only a few members know about it. Mimosa reveals that they were almost captured, but the captains paved the way for them to escape. After escaping, they have no idea about what happened again. Mimosa is about to continue talking when the struggle from Asta waking up alerts everyone. Asta tries to stand up immediately, but Mimosa says he needs rest. Asta points out that Conrad needs to be stopped, and this is no time for him to get tired or weak. He reveals that Conrad plans to destroy the kingdom by dawn. One of the mages, Sek, gets scared and suggests that they run away. He says other neighboring nations will take them in if they should run now. His fear starts to spread among the others until Asta gets up and screams at them. He says the protection of the kingdom is left to them because they are the Magic Knight squads of the Clover Kingdom. They have been living peacefully because of the sacrifices of the Wizard King and the captains. He says it is time to now fight for them and protect the kingdom. They cannot leave the kingdom to perish under their watch. Asta manages to gather his strength, even with all the injuries all over his body. He lets them know that if he could be able to get back up from something like this, there shouldn't be anything stopping them from fighting. With his energy and the motivation in his voice, the mages' spirits are lifted and they all agree to fight for the kingdom. When asked what the plan is, Asta says he will now have to figure that out. Shortly afterward, Sek is seen trying to leave the shelter because he is still scared and not ready to fight. On his way outside, he runs into Leon. Leon arrives at the shelter with other knight captains that have been on a mission during the attack. Asta is informed that Yami and the rest are alive, but they are being held under a barrier in the flying fortress. It is revealed that Conrad is still keeping the citizens and the captains alive so he can absorb their powers and transfer them to his members. This way, they will never run out of magic. Moments later, more mages troop in to join forces so that they will have a chance against Conrad and his associates. They make plans to destroy the Imperial Sword in an attempt to stop Conrad's plan. All their plans sit on Asta because he is the only one that has anti-magic powers. He will be the only one able to destroy the sword and all negates Conrad's power. They need to retake the Black Bull's base first and use this as their forward attack base. Noelle doesn't have her grimoire yet, but she can now wield her magic. Thanks to their magic familiar, Charmy, Noelle will just focus on basic magic to do for now. Now at the Black Bull's base, Asta and the mages arrive. They eliminate the first batch of enemy soldiers at the base, and Asta uses his power to destroy the barrier around the base. After regaining the base, Henry transforms the base into a flying craft. As the base is preparing to take off, an enormous number of enemy soldiers form a barricade and block their path. 3 captains volunteer and use their magic to create a safe passage for the base to pass. Down on 3 captains, the mages forge ahead into the enemy territory. Realizing that Asta and the mages are approaching, Jester creates an enormous barrier around the village. Jester launches an attack on the base and they return fire. With their suppressing fire, they are able to get past Jester. Asta prepares to destroy the barrier. He transforms his sword into a very big sword and starts to push it against the barrier. Edward and Princhet show up to stop him, but the mages already have a plan. The moment the Dew steps on the base, they are transported to different locations by the mages. Just then, Jester shows up again. He disturbs Asta, but Yuno steps in to face him. Jester reveals that even if Asta manages to break the barrier, it will just regenerate again because the barrier draws its power from the Imperial Sword. Minutes later, Asta manages to break the barrier, but only he and Yuno are able to get inside because the barrier regenerated immediately. Asta sees Conrad standing on the singular point, which is the skeleton of a demon. Jester arrives again, and Yuno tells Conrad to take care of Conrad while he takes care of Jester. The other mages also split into teams to deal with the other two Wizard Kings. Leon is to face off with Princia, while the rest will face off with Edward. With his first attack, Yuno is able to break the Knight Captains free so that they can support him against Jester. Even with how much they outnumber him, Jester doesn't see them as a threat and he even mocks them. We now get to see Noel and the rest of the mages facing off with Edward. Edward tells them that he has no desire to hurt them and gives them the opportunity to leave and never interfere again. He says he has seen through their hearts and come to realize that they are not corrupt like other royal members. However, the mages decline the offer and attack Edward. Edward creates ice space that holds down the mages. The scene shifts to the epic battle going on between Leon and Princia. Leon is giving Princia a run for her money, and Princia is even forced to use her fists against Leon. Inside the barrier, the captains give Yuno the chance for him to launch a very powerful attack on Jester. Meanwhile, Asta is now face-to-face with Conrad. Conrad says Asta is too late and pushes the sword into the ground. This kingdom starts to break apart after Conrad does this. On the other hand, Leon has started to gain the upper hand against Princia. Seeing that he is looking, Jester absorbs all the powers he used to create the barrier to strengthen himself for another wave of attack. Up next, Conrad gets angry when Asta refuses his proposal once again. He says there is no need to be friends with him or try to convince him anymore. Conrad lifts himself up, revealing his majestic power and strength. He infuses himself with power from the Imperial Blade and faces off with Asta. Conrad begins to attack Asta and also mock him that he will never be close to his level. Asta gets furious when Conrad mocks the Wizard King title. Asta activates demon magic and gets enormous strength. He furiously goes after Conrad and the duo attacks each other while also having a conversation about what is right and what is wrong. During the attack, Asta is able to destroy the pouch Conrad is holding Noel's grimoire. Immediately, Noel receives her full strength and counters Edward's ice magic with her water magic. With the help of her friends, Noel creates a combo spell that hits Edward very hard. This breaks off all of Edward's magic and renders him weak. Continuing with Asta's fight against Conrad, Asta says he can't let him destroy the nation because he still plans to become the Wizard King. He launches a powerful attack that sends Conrad flying and also pulls out the Imperial Sword. With this, the kingdom's collapse and destruction comes to a halt. Seeing this, the other three Wizard Kings concede defeat and say it was fun while it lasted. However, Conrad refuses to be beaten and uses a forbidden spell that opens Doom's Gate. Just then, Julius arrives and gives Asta the Imperial Sword. With the magic of other wizard kings flowing through him, Asta gains double strength combined with the demon power running through him. He goes after Conrad and cuts down the Doom's Gate with both the Imperial Sword and his own sword. With his defeat, Conrad surprisingly feels at ease. He tells Asta to become the Wizard King and share his warm intentions with the people of the kingdom. Conrad sees that Asta will make a good Wizard King and finally decides to rest. Conrad and the other 3 Wizard Kings turn into glowing dust and blow away. After the dust has settled, Julius informs the mages that Conrad once was a good and kind man just like Asta. However, he was framed by the royalists. His squad and wife were slaughtered, and this caused him to change. Julius thanks Asta for stopping him. Asta says the Wizard King is incredible, and he one day wishes to be a Wizard King also.